here to hijack this town and to try and make an issue out of getting guns out of good people's hands that can make a difference. And you know that, Beto.
Okay, we have something for her.
No, this is bullshit. It's about mental health and it's about the war on boys and masculinity. You're bullshit by being here. Shame on you, Beto. Why don't you debate me? Why don't you debate me? Go ahead. Answer my question. Answer my question, Beto. Come on. Come on, bring it up, Beto. Let me hear. What do you have to say about mental health? What do you have to say about urban violence? You don't care. The Democrats have been in charge of urban communities and cities for decades. The Democrats have failed. They don't care about you, sir. That's why you get Sandy Hook. He doesn't care. It's bullshit. I grew up in Newtown. No, you're going to kick out a mother in this community. I grew up here. Right? My mom went to participate. I'm a third generation New Hampshire. What are you doing? Democrats are out. Trump 2020 is saving this world. You guys are lying. And you know it, Beto. And answer me. Come on, bring it on.
Greetings and salutations. This video is going to serve as a well, I don't know what it's going to serve as. It might serve as a beginning of a conversation. I hope it comes as a conversation, because the thing is, there is a crisis when it comes to guns, because we experienced two shootings, one in with what happened to the Asian parlors, the Asian beauty parlors, massage parlors rather. When a deranged individual who wanted, well, it seemed allegedly wanted sex, went on a shooting spree, gunning after Asian women in these Asian massage parlors, and if he was not stopped at that the location where he had stopped, there were plans that he was about to go into the state of Florida, drive from Atlanta down to Florida to repeat his atrocities. Then, around the same time, you have the Boulder, Colorado shooting. And at a supermarket, a grocery market. And predictably, we get the media. Then we get the politicians. Then we get the pundits. Then we get the activists. Then we get those who are in academia, trying to tell us or try to lecture others about the issue of guns, and guns are the issue. And let me say this as a disclaimer, because we know how controversial this topic is. This video is not a political video. This video is not going to condemn the left wing, or should I say, it's not going to support the right wing, not going to support the left wing. It's not going to do this is not a Democratic video. This is not a Republican video. This is not about the Second Amendment. This is about how the powers that be that I just mentioned above know what the answer is, but don't want to address the problem. Now, we don't know what the real issue behind the Boulder, Colorado shooter. We don't know what his motivations are. And according to the background of the suspect, it is believed that he is a Middle Eastern person from Syria. So I bet you that the right wing, the people in the right wing talk show hosts like Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity and so forth are going to use Islam as the cause. In Atlanta, the shooting in Atlanta is, they identified the shooter as a Caucasian who wanted sex, and now they're trying to figure out whether it's a hate crime against Asians. That whole debate. And even in that shows the hypocrisy of the right wing. That shows the hypocrisy of the left wing too, how they approach these two stories. The left wing, and I got to digress here. Because the left wing will try to make this more about anti-Asian violence, and rightfully so. I'm not going to deny that. But what is the problem is the left won't call out what the so-called shooter and his issue with possibly he might be a terrorist, and they don't want to use Islam or the image of the Islamists in American society causing harm. The right wing itself is hypocritical. The right wing will go to a shooter like what happened in Atlanta and talking about hate crime. We don't believe in hate crime legislation. We think crime should be equal. We'll have these stupid ass arguments. But if you go to OAN News or Fox News or Blaze.com or let me see, what is the other one? Newsmax. If you go to any of these conservative outlets, they will talk about the shooter being Muslim. They'll overemphasize with big capital letters with the country he came from or immigrated from or his heritage is Syrian. They're going to sit there and say, put out his full name out, which is Islamic or Arabic rather. And they're going to play up the whole identity politics. And, here is a Muslim in America shooting us good Americans, using the same identity politics that they blame liberals for doing. But that's not here today. I have to put that to the side, but I digress. But here is the issue. No matter what is the cause of the violence that we see, there is one thing that I noticed. And it began with the shooting in Montreal in 1980, I want to say 89. There had not been that many mass murderers, mass shootings rather, in that type of magnitude in the North American continent, in North America. And I'm gonna start, outside of the University of Texas shooting in 1967, I believe. Between 1967 and 1989, it has not been that many mass shootings by a person in schools or in workplaces or in certain establishments. Most of these shooters are at least heterosexual men. Most likely they are white men for the most part. But heterosexual men nonetheless. And then if you're going to compound the issue about gun violence, then we got to include the gang warfare in the inner cities, the burials in Florida, Texas, and California, and also why is gun violence existing? Now, the Democratic Party, those in Congress rather, are trying to create another law about gun stocks and butt stocks and background checks, and trying to seemingly, it seems to infringe a possible infringement, and I said this again, possible infringement on the Second Amendment. And it is ludicrous that the left wing of the Democratic Party, believes though doing black background checks is going to prevent what had happened in Sandy Hook, what happened in Boulder, Colorado, what happened in Texas, the shootings in Texas, and many more I cannot name. It's so sad. We have a male crisis in this society. We have a crisis of manhood. And nobody is actually being serious about the issue. The guy who shot up the Montreal University, where he went into a classroom, told the male students to leave, and execute the female students. And this is all because of the machinations that he has in his family, and his father is conservative father outlook, in that he came from a place of a strict religious childhood, and that prompted him to, because of women and the need to find a wife at a certain age, and all of that played into the role of what happened in Montreal in 1980, I want to say 89, and what's happened in the United States, and the Elliot Rodger, and all that, and it's some of y'all think, and some of the Democrats really need to. I got to go back to the gun issue. A lot of the left wing believes that if we take away the gun, least likely, that the violence against women or the violence against humanity is going to be society. When in fact, what happened in Canada a few years ago, where a guy used a truck who was incel, and he plowed people on the side of, because he was an incel, he wanted to go get after the Chads and the Tyrones of the world. When I'm trying to remember this person's name. I'm trying to remember this person's name. He was trying to create, and if I find his name, I'll put it in the description box. But I think his name is Farrell, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Mr. Farrell tried to create a boys' commission, a federal level commission concerning boys and boyhood. But the Bush administration, the Obama administration, and so forth had ignored that plea. Has really ignored the plea. And when President Obama, to his credit, when President Obama tried to create the My Brother's Keeper initiative, and a couple of writers from the Washington D.C. Beltway, and those up there in New York Times created a movement to force Obama, or at least drag, put a lot of what's the word I'm trying to say, try to drag down President Obama's my brother's keeper. And here's what people don't seem to grasp. You mostly see domestic violence, these types of shootings. It comes from a place of men not being a part of the wider society, men not being a part of the overall humanity. And you have to look at the economic level. Between 1980, no, scratch that from the record. Between 1978 and 1982, let me just put this out here. Between 1978 and 1982, if you were a college student, most likely half of your student body was female. Half. 50-50 from 1978 to 1982. Well, let me take that back. Most of your graduates was 50-50. Roughly 50-50. But since 1987, and I'll put the links in the description box if y'all really want to look at the evidence that I'm putting on the table. A lot of men who are guys who, a lot of guys are feeling left out. Boys are being they feel left out. They feel not attaining what they desire. Because our society refused to identify or refused to acknowledge and refused to teach what is manhood and what is masculinity. And I'm gonna tell you what these solutions are, because I know this video is gonna take a very long time. So let me tell you what the solutions are, so I won't ramble. The solutions is to revamp the education system. Um, and you don't hear the manosphere. You only hear like 10% of the manosphere we'll discuss this into great depth. And let me say this too. I want y'all to check out a video before I get to my solutions. There is a video that I had collab with Failflop. Now, Failflop is a MRA, a men's rights movement, a men's rights activist, and he and I had collab on the video. He made the original video. I did my version of the video with my own perspective and knowledge. So I'll put that in I'll put his video, and if his video is still up, I'll put his video and my video up in the description box, because it lends to this other issue of the 9 male boys tools to be educated. If male boys are being denied, if the male boy at the age of 5, 6, and 7, the formative years of being told that he's too rowdy, he's too, like the education system is not geared towards the male student, it's more geared towards the female student. And no, I'm not advocating for taking away rights of women. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not even what I desire. Here's what I desire. And a part of me is going to sound leftist, but I don't care. I believe we should bring back the New Deal. Bring back the New Deal, because to build so that something like I forgot, a Tennessee Valley type government program, or some type of public, like FDR did the, what's it called, the Public Works Administration, where like they build, where they take men who are unemployed and give them jobs to build roads, build bridges, build infrastructure. Because we got, and let me go off and see, we have a lot of infrastructure that needs to be rooted up, repaired, fixed, what may have you, replaced, what may have you, and giving the male, that male, a certain type of reason to exist and be a part of society. And too many men rather, believe that manhood is based upon how much sex he receives, rather than of the works and the capital he is creating for himself. I believe that we need to have something that would gear young men to be more a part of society, be makers of it, be creators of it, use his hands. Because it's already bad enough with automation. It's already bad enough when you got automation on one end destroying the blue collar male, or those who are in entry level positions or vying for entry. And then though you also have higher education when that's more geared towards the female the female population. If men had built something with his hands, be a part of the infrastructure, you would possibly see less need or less purpose for him to kill, maim, and destroy innocent victims, innocent lives. You might see less of that type of carnage. Um, because when a man builds something, he takes pride in it, and that's something what the manosphere don't want to talk about as often. That's why the black manosphere, I'm talking about especially the black manosphere, don't want to talk about it. That's why you got people who call themselves MGTOW, argue more about women, fussing more about women than try to be stewards, well, actually practicing what they preach and be stewards to other men on a actual real level. So anyway, that's all I got to say. That is my solution to the problem. Like, share, and subscribe. And my next video um, is going to be a response video to Barbarossa, because Barbarossa has proven me right. He has proven me right about the racism within the manosphere, especially within MGTOW, and why some people left MGTOW. So get off of there, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. I'm out.